Yo, what do you do, guys? It is your boy, Leon Mookie here, back with you with another new chapter of Fate Unlimited DxD. And yeah, sorry it's been a while since I last uploaded a chapter for this. Honestly, I've kinda just been busy with a lot of other stuff. And if you guys have noticed, especially on that of my main channel, which I have been suffering quite a bit due to YouTube's policies and bullshit, of course. But then again, this is YouTube, so of course they're always on their bullshit. Alright, let's go that of a quick recap with that of the last chapter. In the last part, Shiro was preparing for just a normal day back at Kuo. However, turns out that normal day was turned into that more of an annoyance and also more of a eye-opener for that of, due to that of Merlin living with him and also giving him the information on why they're going against their fellow grand servants and Gaia, while also bringing up on why Gaia is basically wanting to kill that of Shiro and prevent the counterforce to connect to that of the world of DxD. Even Merlin asking Shiro why he hasn't bothered, well, we're reciprocating the feelings he has for that of the girls after all. Not only that, Kiba also tries to confront Shiro about why he has Excalibur. However, Kiba wouldn't give him that of straight answers on why. Instead, he basically just made tons of threats and even tried to attack Shiro as well. So Shiro had to not keep him from coming back into his house ever again, at least until he calmed down. But Shiro needs answers. Answers on what the hell and why Kiba has hatred for Excalibur. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we, guys? Chapter 15, The Holy Sword Excalibur. Currently in out of the dining room, as Rias is kind of a little bit nervous with then soon as Shiro's still waiting, even that of Rainer, who's basically leaning back on that of the wall, and even that of Merlin, who's kind of curious, sitting at the table as well. Within, Ria's saying, I'm not 100% sure, but these are mainly from that of Kiba's, well, recollections and his point of view, to be honest. So I'm not sure if it's completely accurate, but it is from one side of the story of this tragic tale. With Ria saying this, she having that of a look of pure and utter shyness, sadness, and nervousness as well. Within, Shiro saying, Rias, your knight nearly threatened to kill me, all because he wants to know about how I am able to create Excalibur. I need something to prevent this from happening again, because I will tell you this, even though he is my friend, I won't hesitate to kill him, and we both don't want that. Please, give me at least something I can work with. With Ria sighing, before looking straight into the eyes of the man she loves, within saying, it was about 5 years ago. I was on that of a vacation with my family at the time, in that of neutral controlled territory in Italy. Normally, going to a country controlled by that of the church, especially angel controlled territory, is dangerous. But there's at least a few areas where it's neutral for supernatural beings such as us, devils, to basically go. So there, we were on vacation. On that day, I basically wanted to go for a little walk through the snow and wanted to relax a little bit. But then, that's when I found him. I found that of a blonde-haired young boy, looking like on the verge of death. Not only that, I could sense he had a sacred gear as well. I thought this was my lucky day. So, what did I do? I asked him if he wanted to live. The boy seemed a little bit, hesitant at first. He even knew that I was a devil. He even spit at the fact that I was a creature of the night. But right now, he didn't care. He was willing to join my peerage. Happy to join, and I was happy. I had another person with not just a powerful sacred gear, but also another person to join my family. On that day, the boy that was once known as Isaiah disappeared, and thus my knight, Yuto Kiba, was born. After a few years of getting used to being my knight and my servant and part of my peerage, he finally opened up on about what he went through, called the Holy Sword Project. Within, Rainer's eyes widening in shock before saying, "Wait, Holy Sword Project? So that thing was actually real?" Within, looking at that of the black-haired fallen angel, within, Shiro saying, "You heard about it, Rainer?" Saying, "Well, yeah, actually. At first, I thought it was just basically a rumor. To think that the church would go that far to try and create more holy sword users. I thought those stray priests, exorcists that we brought in were just basically making shit up. But now, I guess they were real. I guess it was true." With then, hearing that, Shiro saying, "Could you elaborate a little bit more?" Then saying, "All I heard is that the rumor says that a few rogue priests went against that of the church's directives on trying to create that of several new holy sword users. Their methods of doing so was considered, well, barbaric under the church's orders. So they were basically excommunicated and removed from the church. Some were even hunted down as considered heretics as well. Only place they had left was either join the devils and become part of their peerages, or be part of Gogori. And Lord Azazel took advantage of them to see if their usefulness in the Holy Sword Project would bear fruits for his sacred gear research. Fortunately or unfortunately, their research barely did anything to help him for that. So to be honest, they're basically no different from regular straight exorcists and under the employ of Gogori." With then hearing that, Rhea saying, "Now it kind of all makes sense on why Kiba despises fallen angels and the church so much." With then, soon, Rainer couldn't help but flip her off. Before then, Shiro saying, "Okay, you two, don't start fighting right now." Still. So, basically the church was trying to, or rather, a small majority of the church was trying to figure out a way to continue holy sword users. With then, looking at Merlin saying, "You know anything about this?" Saying, "Don't look at me. I only know about the past of this world. I don't know anything about the most recent given the 10 years ago after all. Just like you, I have been off the grid." With then, soon, Shiro couldn't help but sigh as well, saying, "Okay, fine. At least now I know what I'm dealing with. If Kiba basically starts this shit with me again, I swear to God," Rias saying, "say no more, please, Shiro. But I'll talk to him. Just give me a chance. Just give me some time." Saying, I hope for your sake and his, Kiba doesn't do anything stupid." Within, soon after saying that, Shiro begins leaving the dining room, as he plans on taking a bath to relax after, well, that strenuous moment. Within, soon, Merlin also walked out before materializing in spirit form, and then dematerializing in spirit form in front of Shiro, saying, "Okay, I figure you want to ask, what's with that of Excalibur in this world?" Saying, "Gee, you figured me out. Talk, perv." Within, soon, Merlin couldn't help but scratch the back of his long white hair, before then saying, "Okay, what I was able to figure out during the Great War, the great sword Excalibur, the sword that was created by that of the Lady of the Lake, my former love, the same one that basically trapped you in the Tower of Avalon for eternity," with then saying, "Ha ha, very funny, thanks, you reminded me of my greatest shame with my ex." Saying, "Hey, it's not my fault you cheated on her." With that, Merlin basically felt like he was just stabbed in the heart, before then getting back to that of his original serious mode, saying, "Besides that, in this world, instead, normally, and back in our world and multiple other worlds, Excalibur is basically the sword of promised victory. The sword that's basically undefeated, unbreakable, and undeniably and one of the most strongest swords in all of history. Given that, the Lady of the Lake created multiple fail-safes around that sword, from not just that of holy magic, light magic, being able to be unbreakable, and add that with its sheath Avalon, where it not only it basically heals the wielder from that of, well, fatal wounds, but also if Excalibur is in the sheath as well, Avalon can basically recover anything that basically damaged Excalibur. Even that of powerful swords itself, like that of its sister weapons, being Excalibur Galentine and Avalon. With that, soon, Shiro couldn't up and say, "Yeah, I figured that. Why you think I'm able to understand it perfectly? Artoria used it so many times, I know what the sword is capable of. I know its history due to I was her master. Because of that, it's inside of my arsenal of unlimited blade works. But what's it about that was basic? But what's so important about it that it makes it feel like there's so much more about it?" By the way that Kiba was speaking, it almost sounded like there was more than one Excalibur outside of Galentine. Within, Merlin couldn't help but say, in this world, my ex-girlfriend ended up not creating that of the seal that would make Excalibur unbreakable. So instead, in this world, Excalibur was basically broken, shattered into that of 7 pieces. Within, hearing that, saying, "What?" As even Shiro couldn't help but have that of eyes of pure and utter shock as well. But then saying, "Don't trust me, even I'm completely shocked about this too. When I found out about the history of Excalibur, and even that of Artoria in this world, I was shocked that the sword that basically gave her one of her iconic legends was basically destroyed just like that. But the church, alongside that of the angels, didn't want to risk losing those swords. So, even I'm disgusted by this moment, and I'm half incubus. The church ended up the Lady of the Lake refused to repair the sword, realizing that it was the church's fault for not taking proper care of the weapon. Since then, she's been cut off from that of the supernatural from the very end. But the church wouldn't take a no for an answer. So, they basically kidnapped several fairies from that of the Fey realm and forced them to repair Excalibur. But unfortunately, they couldn't repair Excalibur to its true form, so they had to use that of the shards of the blade and its magic cores to create 7 other Excaliburs. From Excalibur Destruction, Excalibur Mimic, Excalibur Rapidly, Excalibur Nightmare, Excalibur Transparency, Excalibur Blessing, and Excalibur Ruler. All would be made up, all 7 Excaliburs. To the church, it would seem like that they've gained that of 7 new swords for their cause to basically bring down the hammer of God on those who would threaten humanity and that of God. But in fact, those Excaliburs are nothing but weakened fragments of what the true Excalibur is. And not to mention the fairies that were basically kidnapped from the Fey realm. The fairy queen at the time, Titania, basically decided to close off all fairies from ever entering in the supernatural ever again. Since then, there hasn't been a single fairy basically in this world. Within, hearing that, Shiro's saying, "God damn it. Literally, what the hell was the church thinking? I know they're corrupt as hell, but to be this corrupt?" As Merlin continues saying, "But as for that Holy Sword project, it seems like the church is losing a lot of Holy Sword users in this day and age, which kind of makes sense." Within saying, "What do you mean?" Within, trying to look around, making sure that Rainer and Rias aren't hearing anything. Within, Shiro realizing, I haven't heard that they basically try to kill one another. Within saying, "I think that's a good thing. Let's hope that stays the same, Emiya." But speaking, within realizing, God of this world is dead. Within, Shiro's eyes widening before saying, now that actually makes a lot of sense now. Within saying, "Wait, you knew?" "I had my speculations. The power of God is basically omnipotent. It's unnaturally powerful, even for servants like us, for several servants in the Throne of Heroes who draw on the power of God as well. That power is omnipotent. after all. In this world, I don't feel it. I don't feel a single fraction of that holy power that many of the servants that we worked with that explained it perfectly to us back in Chaldea. Not a single fraction of that holy power, that omnipotent power as they called it. Now it kind of makes sense. Without God, turns out a lot of the balance of this world is basically on an unequilibrium. Nobody is unable to, stay the same like they used to. With then soon hearing this, it's one of the reasons on why Alaya is trying to connect the counterforce to this world. The God of this world was trying to help and protect humanity from the supernatural. Now that it's one of its biggest guardians is now gone, all that's left is for humanity itself to basically step in and protect it. Hell, I'm pretty sure that there's a faction out there outside of the church trying to protect humanity, but knowing how people are, especially humans, they're a bit, as Merlin gets off that of a weird and somewhat cringy face, within Shiro couldn't help but sigh, saying, yeah, some humans believe that their brand of protecting fellow humans is either genociding an entire race and species of supernatural beings, or basically controlling humanity, then save them from themselves. God, stuff like this never changes, doesn't it? Saying, no, it does not. Any rate, good luck, Emiya. You're going to need it. As for the time being, I'll still figure out a way to sever the connection between you and Alaya for the counterforce. Just focus on keeping yourself safe and also enjoying your time at Kuo. You're so lucky to be around so many beautiful ladies. But then, soon, Shiro bringing out that of Kenshiro, but then pointing at that of Merlin's neck as he couldn't help but sweat, still having that of his same old smile, with having his eyes closed, but begins sweating, saying, I'm joking. No, you're not. Far from it. As Shiro has a deadpan look while saying this, with then putting away the sword and then preparing to go and take a bath. The very next day, classes basically stayed the same. However, you could basically feel an air of tension all across the school, mainly because of one singular person, that being the Prince of Kuo himself, Kiba, as many of his fangirls, at least a few of them that have been around him since the beginning of school, like during his first year, could tell something is off, as he's giving off the same cheerful and comforting smile as always, but it feels a lot more faker than usual. As even a few girls ask if Kiba was doing alright, but then he's basically saying that he's okay. They have nothing to worry about after all. However, some girls are not completely convinced. However, it's not just that of Kiba, it's also Shiro as well, as some girls that also, keep an eye on him and where he helps out a few of the students and teachers as well, realize that Shiro is trying to keep his distance from Kiba as well, with a few teachers and students asking him if he and Kiba are, having problems with one another. With then Shiro saying, let's just say we just had a bit of an argument yesterday. That's all. And we're just keeping our distance from one another. Or rather, Shiro's the one that's keeping his distance away from that of the somewhat unhinged, reincarnated devil. During that of lunchtime, Shiro basically eating his lunch, with that of Konako also, eating alongside him, at their usual spot being around that of the tree that's out at that of the, practice field. Within, Konako basically looking at that of Shiro, but then Shiro saying, if you have something to say, Konako, you can tell me. Within, she blinking multiple times saying, are you and Kiba basically having an argument or fighting with one another? Within, Shiro basically stopped eating for a bit saying, figures that you would basically bring this up. But then, Konako, still a little bit having that of a deadpan look. However, you could look in her eyes that she is worried. Within saying, just worried. Are the two of you, what are you fighting for? Within, Shiro couldn't help but give off that of a look saying, let's just say Kiba's just going through that of a tough time due to his past right now, and believing that coming after me is the best way for him to get answers or give closure for his past. What then? Konako, without absent-mindedly just asking, will it? But then Shiro saying, no, it won't. As Shiro is about to eat again, but then Konako basically sniffs in the air saying, Kiba-senpai is coming. Within, soon Shiro was about to eat a bit of his tempura, within realizing, of course. Dropping his food in chopsticks, within standing up, as then Konako basically grabs that of Shiro's arm, within he looking down at that of the young Nekushao, within she's still getting out of a look, basically saying, please don't hurt him. Within Shiro saying, I'm not gonna hurt him, I just need to put this aside after all. Within, soon, Shiro basically having that of Konako let go of him. Within, walking to that of Kiba. Within, soon, Kiba noticing that of Shiro as he glares straight at that of the white-haired, tan-skinned young man. Within, soon, Kiba was about to say anything before you say anything, let's go to the outskirts of the school, behind that of the old schoolhouse. I really don't want any of the school to basically come to some weird conclusion. Back within, soon, Kiba, not even caring, but deciding to oblige by that of Shiro, almost like that of his dying wish or something. As the two continue walking, a few of the female students noticing them as they begin making comments about that of Shiro and, Kiba basically, walking together, almost like that if they're a couple or something, with stupid rumors like that. Within, soon, Shiro couldn't help but sigh at this annoying bullshit. However, Kiba, on the other hand, he could care less. He could care less about what anybody says. All that matters is his vengeance right now. Within, soon, arriving behind that of the old schoolhouse. Within, saying, alright, let's get this over with. Within, soon, Kiba creating one of his generic demonic swords. Before then, Shiro saying, I'm not here to fight you, Kiba. But then saying, then what? I'm asking you, are you now calm? Are you now rational? Are you not going to basically just lunge at me like some wild animal, all because you want to kill me because I have Excalibur? Saying, and if I say no? Within saying, then I'm not going to give you what you want. Within, soon, keep saying, what? Before then, Shiro takes a deep breath as he transforms in that of his heroic spirit form, with white spiky hair and all, and in that of red holy shroud is all and everything, before saying, I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body, and fire is my blood. As with feeling the amount of mana coming from that of Shiro, with Kiba basically completely and utterly dumbfounded by this power, as he remembered it from that of the raiding game against Riser, as he could feel that of the immense amount of mana coming from that of Shiro, even though he's only using a fraction of his noble phantasm. I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death and unknown to life. As then, the mana gathers around that of Shiro's left hand, as it soon radiates into that of holy light, within saying, unlimited blade works. Within it fully materializing into that of Excalibur, with Kiba feeling the holy aura coming off of the sword of promised victory, the sword that was known to be the sword of history in the Middle Ages. Seeing that of the golden blue blade, with the edge of the blade looking like that of pure shining silver. With then, soon, Kiba getting on his guard, thinking that he is going to die by the sword of his hatred. But even if he does, he will bring that blade down with him. He will do whatever it takes to destroy the sword to avenge his comrades. Within, soon, without that appear warning, Shiro basically stabs the sword into the ground, creating that of a massive shockwave. With as that of the holy light basically fades through that of the ground, with even Kiba basically going to his knees, feeling that holy wave. Within, thinking, what the hell? The hell did you do? Within, Shiro saying, gave you a chance. I'm giving you a choice. I can tell your hatred isn't really directed towards me. It's mainly directed towards this sword. And honestly, it's damn ridiculous that your hatred is towards this sword more than anything. Within, Kiba saying, what did you say? You heard me, Isaiah. Within, hearing his original name saying, Rias told you. I need confirmation about this shit. And honestly, having you basically coming around to attack me out of the blue isn't going to help you or help me. And I don't want to deal with this shit right now. So, I'm going to give you an option. Either talk to me like that of a normal person, and we can basically figure something out. Or you could spend the next few minutes before lunch ends to trying to destroy this sword. Destroy the very sword at its prime before it basically shattered into that of 7 pieces. Those are your options. Within, hearing this, as soon, Kiba standing back up, before then, basically not even bothering looking at that of Shiro, as his eyes are basically covered by his bangs, before looking at that of the very sword, as he could still feel the holy aura, as his body is basically shaking and telling him to move away in fear. But however, his hatred, his desire to destroy this sword, his vengeance, his promise to have that of vengeance against all Excalibur fragments, even the original Excalibur, overwhelms that fear. As he soon couldn't help but growl in that of pure anger, as he tries to slam his sword into that of Excalibur, as his demonic sword basically shatters. Within, soon realizing, but just let you know, that's basically nothing but a copy. It's not even the original Excalibur. It has the same power as the original Excalibur, but nothing more. If you can't even destroy a copy of the original, what chance do you have at basically destroying those fragments? Within, soon, basically getting angrier and angrier as he creates demonic sword after demonic sword, even that of his, demonic holy eater sword, hoping to basically drain away all the holy magic crawling around out of the sword. However, not even one scratch, as that of his holy eater basically is also destroyed. As he does this over and over and over again with multiple swords that he creates. Within, soon, Shiro can't help but sigh before reverting back to his normal form, and then begins walking out of the woods, heading straight back to that of the old schoolhouse, as Rias, Akano, Issei, and even that of Konako, alongside that of a few members of the student council, like Tsubasa, Tomoe, and Sanji, arrive too. Within, Sanji saying, what the hell are you doing here? And what is going on? Within, Shiro saying, just having somebody try and release all of his pent-up rage and anger. Within, soon, Ria saying, Shiro, you didn't. Saying, don't worry, Kiba's not dead. I made a promise to Konako and even you that I wouldn't do anything to hurt him. And to be honest, I think he just needs an outlet to relieve all his anger and stress now it's been pent up for almost that of years now. Within, soon, Issei saying, can somebody explain what the hell is going on? And what does this have to do with that of Kiba? Which Shiro couldn't help but say, that's up to him to tell you. It's not any of my business anymore. Hopefully he knows that it's his stupid endeavor when he's done, when lunch is over. As for me, within, we're going back to Konako saying, Konako, do you still have my, right here? As then saying, thank you. I'm going to be finishing my lunch before lunch fully ends. as much as at least I can. After then Shiro leaves, you can actually hear that of clinging and grunting, basically in the distance of the woods, as it being Kiba trying his best to destroy Excalibur. With then soon Issei saying, "I'm gonna go check on him." With then soon even that of Tomoe and Tsubasa doing the same as well, following after Issei. Even Taji was kind of curious too. With then soon Rie saying, "I'll let him handle this." Within Akino saying, "You are his king." Then saying, "I know, and I do trust Shiro, but I also trust the others too. If this basically continues to hold over that of Kiba's head, I will possibly try and straight Kiba out, as not just as his king, but also be a part of his family as well." As Akino couldn't help but smile, saying, "You've changed quite a bit, Rias. I think it has to do with that of Shiro-kun, does it?" With Rias saying, "And what's so wrong about that?" Within, Rias walks off as well. Within, Akino still having her same fake smile as well, but then it fades, saying, was it a good thing that you've changed so much because of him? Or not? Who could say? All he's done is basically remind me of things I'd rather forget. And I feel like Kiba's done the same to Yuto as well." As she looks in the distance of the woods, with still hearing that of grunts and that of clings as well. Within, as the day goes by, it looks like that of Kiba still, his mood has basically gotten completely worse, which is basically put a huge cloud around that of, Kuo. As many of Kiba's, fans couldn't help but think that the reason was due to that of Shiro. However, some of Shiro's supporters, after all, since he is also a prince of Kuo, believe that it would never be his fault, that he's basically one of the kindest and most caring person in the entire school that helps out everybody, that even brought up the fact that it was Kiba's fault for trying to start something. And let's just say there's a small tension of a war basically brewing in Kuo, mainly out of that of fangirls trying to defend their husbandos. But Shiro thinking, I hate my life sometimes. As classes finally come to an end, Shiro gets out of a message on his phone, as it being from, surprisingly, Azazel, as it's been a long time since, he basically gave him Rainer for her to look after him, and he looks after her. As the message saying, "Meet me at these location. We need to talk about something that's really important. And it's best that I have somebody like you look into this before I start doing some shit, before I do something that I may seem that could cause a great incident." Within, hearing the message, as putting up his phone and then getting out of the school, and let's just say a few girls that were basically on Kiba's side give Shiro that of dirty looks, while some that are on Shiro's side try to give him words of encouragement, saying that he has nothing to worry about. And let's just say this just makes Shiro feel even more guilty and more annoyed given the situation, and just wants to get out of here as soon as possible. Within, messaging that of Rias, and even that of, Rainer, that he's going to be going out for groceries and also getting other things for the house as well at the supermarket, so he may be back home late. Within, Rias basically says that's thankful for the information, but she also her and her parents have to take care of that of a stray devil. With then, Rainer is thankful for that of informing her as well. Within soon, after at least a few miles of walking, he finally arrives at that of an apartment complex. Within, heading to that of the address right in front of the door, he soon presses a button. Within, soon wondering why Azazel was even here instead of somewhere possibly outside of Kuo, or better yet, somewhere that wouldn't basically cause more of an incident, since the leader of the Fallen Angels, Governor General, is in that of devil-controlled territory. Within soon, opening up the door, within realizing All right, looks like you're here, kid. Come on in. We gotta get straight to talking. Within, Shiro basically coming inside, looking around, seeing that of tons of old, knickknacks, priceless artifacts, old gaming consoles, and many other stuff as well. But then saying, you really do have that whole collection fetish going on, don't you? Saying, hey, you're calling it a fetish, saying, if it suits you, besides collecting sacred gears, you collect a lot of other antiques, don't you? Saying, just calling it a hobby. That's all. Every guy's got to have a hobby to basically keep them sane. Am I right, Mr. Cooks a Lot? Saying, are you trying to piss me off, or do you have something you really need to talk to me about? Well, then Azazel couldn't help but say, chill. I'll talk. But then, sitting down next to the couch, with then Shiro doing the same. But soon, Azazel saying, I have a little bit of a problem in Kogori, and I need your help to handle this. Covertly, if you can. With then, soon, realizing that Azazel's being serious, saying, when you say covert, you really don't want anybody to know about this. Not even Rias or Sona, who's basically in whose territory you're in. Saying, exactly. Actually, it's because they're in this territory is the very reason why I need this to be a secret. With then saying, go on. As Azazel began explaining that one of his subordinates and fellow leaders of Kogori, an angel told in that of the Bible, known as the rising star of heaven, Kakebeel, has gone rogue. Within hearing that, Shiro can up and say, one of your cadres has gone rogue. One of your leaders has gone rogue. This is pretty serious. What if he's just gone on that vacation or just taken a break? Within, soon, Azazel couldn't help but laugh a little bit, as it's just a little chuckle saying, you don't know much about Kakebeel, don't you? All I know is what I've heard from the Bible. Say that he was God's rising star, one of the few angels that was basically becoming one of his precious, that could have became that of a seraphim if he worked hard at it, or at least an archangel. Within saying, that was the idea for that of the kid, but unfortunately, the Great War happened, and a lot of other stuff happened too. The guy got that of a pleasure out of killing anything that wasn't fallen angels. He got the pleasure of basically showing his superiority of being an angel as a general. In simpler terms, with Shiro saying, finishing that of Azazel's comment saying, he became a warmonger, I'm guessing. Saying, right on the money, kid. As then, Azazel couldn't help but use that of a spell circle to materialize that of a glass of alcohol. At least it looks like that of whiskey, actually. But then, soon, taking a sip before saying, I tried my best to basically curb his instincts, tried to direct him towards that of those who would go against Kogori, certain devils who want to start shit with us, certain exorcists that think that they can get all uppity by attacking us, and even trying to take care of a few other those outside of the supernatural, such as those from other pantheons who can think that they can start shit too. It helped a little bit, especially given that we had a little bit of somewhat of a rogue fallen angel a couple years back, trying to restart the Great War by other means. His name was Samuel, alongside a few other rogue and excommunicated members from that of the 5 principal clans of the Shinto. We had help from a special team of ours before they basically left to do their own thing. But after that, he's gone completely and utterly quiet for a while now. He checks in from here in time to time, but after Rainer's little escapade here, and basically was given orders that I didn't even plan on giving her, from an elimination mission to that of a capture mission, and not only that, one of my old prototype sacred gear extractors that instantly kills a person once a sacred gear is removed, it made me think, Kakebeel is trying his best to start another great war. His latest scheme basically proves it. with Shiro getting a little curious, leaning over out of the couch, saying, "What's his latest scheme?" Within soon, ruffling that of the kimono that, well, Azazel is currently wearing, a few of our spies and that of the Vatican said that a few exorcists got the idea of stealing that of the fragments of Excalibur, 2 from the Vatican and 1 from that of Moscow. They were that of Excalibur Transparency, Excalibur Rapidly, and Excalibur Nightmare. Within saying, "No, he's not," saying, "My idea is thinking that he had that of those from that of the church. He had a few of had a few of our informants take that of the Excalibur fragments, bring them to him, thinking that it was an order from me or Shimhaze, and then when we try and contact them again, we couldn't find them. Their last known location shows that they were all killed. Most likely, Kakebio killed them to clear his tracks. However, he couldn't clean his tracks entirely. We found that he may be here in Kuo, biding his time." Saying, "Why would a fallen angel need those broken swords for his plan?" Saying, "He's working with that of 2 other people. 2 people who are kind of a pain in the ass. One of them is a person that was involved in that of the Holy Sword Excalibur project." Within saying, "It looks like that thing is coming up more likely than I expected." But then saying, "You've heard of it?" Rias and turns out one of her peerage members, Yuto Kiba, is a former experiment of that project. Saying, "Well, the world has a weird sense of irony, doesn't it?" With Shiro saying, "You're telling me?" And then Azazel saying, "All the more reason why I need your help to find Kakebio before things get out of hand. Knowing him, he's trying to restart that of the Great War, having the fallen angels take that of Excalibur, come all the way here in that of Kuo Town, which is devil-controlled territory. Sooner or later, the exorcists will basically reply in kind to gain back those swords. Probably send at least 2 or 3 exorcists with that of holy swords themselves to counteract Excalibur. When put aside those damn idiots from the Vatican or the church in general to send those of the remaining Excaliburs to believing that an Excalibur can only defeat another Excalibur, which is ridiculously stupid." Within Shiro saying, "It's that kind of mentality that basically breeds imbeciles and fools, and thus, with that of two exorcists, with that of holy swords or possibly Excalibur fragments, with Excalibur fragments here in Kuo, Kakebio will probably use the Excalibur fragments to kill both that of Serzetch's little sister and Seraphal's little sister, just to trigger them, where they were killed by holy swords that were basically wielded by that of Excalibur, that were wielded by exorcists from that of the church. They would basically attack the church, and in turn, the fallen angels would attack as well, and thus, new great war would begin. Within soon, Shiro would basically cross his arms, waiting for that of Azazel to continue before saying, "Is exactly what I would say." Within, blinking multiple times, saying, "Huh? Wait, you're not saying..." Within, Azazel scratching the back of his head, saying, "Yeah, I'm bringing this up now, because besides Kakebio and a few other grunts in our faction that wants to restart the Great War just so they can kill devils and angels and that of exorcists, I may be the leader, but I also have those who subordinate who are also fellow leaders of our faction. We all had to basically be at one huge agreement for this to happen. I can't just decide everything, or Kakebio can't just expect that all fallen angels are just going to follow him into that of the jaws of death just to start a great war, and just because he asked for it. Not only that, as much as Serzetchis and Seraphal would basically go to war too, if finding out that their little siblings were killed, because they are huge ass Siscons, which is a known damn fact, That of other Satans, though, such as that of Ajuka and Falbian, would never allow that. Their sisters just died. Big whoop. There's no reason to basically go to war after losing that of two devil heiresses. Just their mindset. The only difference is everybody would be blaming that of the church and that of the angel faction for losing their swords and would need to be compensated for such a thing. And the same thing would go for us because we didn't keep an eye on that of Kakebil after all. If anything, the devils would be the one who are provoked in this situation and who we need to compensate for such actions. They would be considered the victims in this situation. Within, Shiro saying, it's to be expected. So, you want to make sure that none of this shit happens so Ogori and the church can basically save face. And since I'm no longer part of either faction, but I'm a person that doesn't want to see any unnecessary and needless bloodsheds be spilled, you want me to help out. It would be helpful, and it would help you save your little girlfriends. Within, Shiro saying, they're not. Within, soon calming himself down, saying, I'm not going to let you tease me like this. At any rate, I'll need Rainer's help for this. And I also need to ask a little associate of mine to help out too. Saying, hey, whatever makes this case go by faster, I would appreciate it. Within, saying, also, is there anyone else working with that of Kakebil outside of the people that you brought up? Do you know their names? Saying, oh yeah, one of them is, Valper Galilei. The guy was basically in charge of the Holy Sword project from the start to finish. Guy's methods is stupid, but I thought his Holy Sword project would help us with that of our Sacred Gear project. Unfortunately, his knowledge only revolves around that of Excalibur, which is basically pointless for me. As for the person that he's using to use Excalibur, honestly, it's more surprised that I basically created this system, and I really regret even doing it. Bro blinking multiple times saying, who is it? A reincarnated Freed Selzen, the same priest that you killed when basically Asya showed up. Within, hearing that name, Shiro can up and say, God damn it, don't tell me he's, yep, a reincarnated fallen angel. Hearing this, Shiro realized that he really can't catch a break, as this must be his infamous bad luck stepping in once again. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Love to read them. So, how did you guys like this part? This was more of an information chapter, so Shiro can basically get that of the finer details on what the hell is going on, which he's still missing after all. Not only that, his confrontation with that of Kiba was not basically them fighting, but him basically telling him to get his anger out by trying to destroy his copy of Excalibur. And yeah, instead of just making the basic copy, he used his noble phantasm to create that of the full-on replica of Excalibur. And of course, Kiba's not going to be able to destroy it, at least not until he awakens his balance breaker. And the way he is now, not a chance in hell he's ever going to awaken it. As for Shiro getting involved with that of the Holy Sword incident here at Kuo, he's mainly going to be getting involved behind the scenes. He's not going to get involved fully, like how Issei and the others did in canon, by going behind that of Rias' back and Sona's back too. And then would be soon later on that shit basically hits the fan. No, he's going to be taking care of this shit as soon as he can. And that is a promise. So yeah. Any rate, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, which really helps out this channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my main channel, my other channel, my Patreon, and my Cash App. All linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care.